This is Late Night Health. I'm Mark Alyn. Our guest, Dr. Mike Fenster. Mike is not only a cardiologist, he's a chef. And we are talking about the recent World Health Organization report that links processed meats like pastrami and corned beef to cancer. Mike, you mentioned something a few moments ago. You mentioned L-arginine, you mentioned nitric oxide, both of which are now popular supplements. Do you prescribe those or recommend those to your patients?
You know, I don't. My philosophy, certainly certain people, and there are certain medical conditions that can benefit from supplementation. I think as a whole, we can get what we need and we get what our body needs, you know, from a varied diet. And, you know, eating various delicious things to me is much better than spending money on supplementations. You know, instead of buying the omega-3, krill oil, fish oil, etc., buy yourself a really great piece of salmon, you know, and cook it well and enjoy that, and you'll get the omega-3 essential fatty acids that you need. But you don't have to worry and spend all that money. But
at the same time, we're not buying farm-raised salmon. We're not buying salmon right now because it's expensive, especially the wild caught. And the idea of wild caught seems to me to be healthier than the stuff that may have antibiotics and other things added to it.
You're
and the taste also.
Right, you're 100% right on all counts. You know, number one, unless you know how it is raised and have meticulously sourced that, you know, I stay away from a lot of these farm things. You don't know what they're being fed. Some studies have shown, for example, that because of what they feed the salmon, that it doesn't have the omega-3 essential fatty acids that you're eating them for in terms of health. By the methods in which they're raised, the things that they're fed, we're actually changing the types and composition and percentages of the fats in these fish. So we're turning them, again, into an industrial product. So, yeah, I always opt for the wild, responsibly caught seafood when given the chance. I don't really recommend that stuff at all that's farmed, particularly when it's farmed in other countries.
Right, and there's another source, and I have tried that, and that is responsibly farmed. Whole Foods is doing that, and I think we have a company, Bristol Farms. I think both of those are doing responsibly farmed salmon and probably other fish. I'm dubious, but it's $6 a pound less.
Well, we do, you know, need to look at that, and responsible farming may mean, you know, in terms of how they process waste and their effect on the environment, and may not reflect, and it may, we'd have to look into that, obviously, but, you know, what they're fed. You know, for example, you mentioned when you look at a piece of wild salmon, that orange, bright orange color does reflect the diet of the fish. When you see a, you know, organic carrot in the store and it just, you know, that orange pops out at you, that's reflecting the level of carotene. You know, when it is industrially produced and farmed, sometimes they add dye. They add dye to
it says it right on the package.
Yeah, exactly.
And that scares me.
And it should. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that I think we definitely want to stay away from. We're starting to get a little smarter. I've been, you know, talking about this for years. I, you know, wrote extensively about it in the Fallacy of the Calorie. This is what we're starting to see, that there's a difference between processed meats and fresh meats. There's a difference between, you know, a fish stick and a fish. We're finally, you know, getting that through our noggins.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to have to work together, because I'm going to have to convince you that supplementation today, I think, is important.
It can be for certain people and with certain conditions, but I think, you know, the routine supplementation, at least, you know, to date with some of the studies, even looking at things like multivitamins, has not really shown, you know, a big impact. And I think it's more important that we try to get a proper diet with quality food.
I think you're right. Mike, we're out of time. Will you come back?
Oh, absolutely. Anytime, Mark. Always a pleasure.
Okay, you too.
And I will get you that dinner.
All right. Well, I'm going to call you. I'll call you tomorrow or the next day. All right.
You got it.
Hey, thank you for joining us, and thank you at home for joining us. I'm Mark Alyn. Have a good week. Have a great week, and most importantly, have a healthy week. And as always, thank you, Daryl. Bye-bye for now.